label. Wanna act like they grateful, don't mess with outsiders. Y'all looking real unstable. If anything, they should ask me how I do it. Start taking notes, recording my every movement. I know that I'm the best and I ain't gotta.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to KB's Community. I'm here today with Grammy-nominated engineer, producer, and songwriter Chad C. Note Roper. Hi.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming. How are you today?
I'm doing well, man. I can't complain.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So can we start with giving the audience a bit of an introduction into who you are and what you do?
Yeah, like you said, I'm Chad C. Note Roper. I'm a Grammy-nominated songwriter, producer, engineer, and vocal producer. I grew up in the city of Milwaukee, and I came up at a time where there was no social media, so we had to literally get on planes to make connections. Mm-hmm. It's not like how it is now. You could just post it on your phone and somebody coming to see you. You had to go see them. So, yeah, that's me. That's it in a nutshell. Yeah, for sure.
How has it been adjusting to the newer wave of being able to just reach somebody through like a message?
It's been great, actually. It's much easier. If it was this, I don't want to use easier is the word bad term to use, but it's not as cost heavy for you, because we will fly out of town every weekend, or every week we will be going somewhere, and that gets expensive now. Yeah. When you can just post things online or reach out to people online via DM, you can actually even spend a couple dollars on promoting yourself. Like, it's things you could do now that you couldn't do then. Even as far as we would have to get discovered, we would have to do demos, but it would actually be either a tape at a time or a CD. So it's a hard copy as opposed to a file. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of this. It's much different. It gives a lot more opportunity, but what it does is it also creates much more competitiveness, because everybody can do it now.
Yeah.
Back in the day, everybody couldn't do it, because there was a certain skill set you had to have. Mm-hmm. Now they have things where you can record yourself. We used to have to actually go to the studio before they created the software where you can record at home. So it's a lot of pros, but there are some cons still as well, because the amount of music that's released every week is crazy compared to how it used to be.
It's hard to get heard in an oversaturated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you can find your niche, then it's a beneficial thing for you.
Yeah,
for sure.
How do you think people should go about finding their niche? Like,
you have to start. See, that's the problem a lot of people have, is they have all these ideas and they use what they call analysis paralysis. Mm-hmm. And they overstudy and overthink things instead of just trying things. That's the way it works. If you like having a dream and having ambitions, that's the easy part. Having goals, that's the easy part. But being able to execute is what really makes the difference. Right. And that, to me, a lot of people have these ideas and these dreams and these goals, but they don't have the execution piece. Mm-hmm. So at that point, it's just ideas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what do you think holds a lot of people back from that execution phase?
Fear. And they say about fear. Fear is edging God out. Fear and ego. And with your ego, first of all, let's start with your fear. With your fear, it allows you to do things you wouldn't normally do, or not do things. So it goes both ways. And then when you start to do things and you get like a little bit of something going, you'll have your ego. And then when you have your ego, that's what they call edging God out, where you're removing what, or create, or whatever you feel. But I use God because that's where I came up. Mm-hmm. You don't allow the God-given talents you think is you, instead of the talents that were given to you.
Yes.
So when you start doing that, then you start to go the opposite direction of success. So I think fear is one, and then ego is two. So you got both of those things that will stagnate you, so to speak.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That is something.
And you can't have faith and fear at the same time.
You're right.
You got to have one or the other. You know what I mean? But then when you have the faith, you got to make sure you put the work in, because as they say, faith without works is dead. Meaning, if you are not working, you can't. Anybody can just sit and think and believe things are going to happen, but if you're not putting in the work or the willpower into making some things occur, then you'll just be in the same predicament over and over and over again. So you got to put in the work as well.
Right. Yeah. What if somebody has the faith but doesn't know where to start with putting in the work?
Right. So in anything that you're gifted at, you'll start to figure things out by trial and error.
True.
Just like you have a gift of speaking. So what you're doing is you put the faith in the work in behind the faith that you had in yourself. So I'm sure you had some rough shows. I'm sure there were times where, you didn't get what you thought would be gotten out of the things that you're doing, but you continue to process and continue to move forward, and you stay consistent. So as you get consistent, you begin to learn. It's hard to learn without consistency, because what it doesn't do is it doesn't allow you to make mistakes. And those are when you really learn. It's easy to understand how you won, but it's much more difficult, because what it does is you have to remove the ego to see why you lost or why you weren't successful in something. So to me, I think most people have to literally try whatever it is they want to do. And then you may find out it's for you or it's not for you. Because I remember at one point, I used to try to be an artist when I was younger. I was a teenager. So I wanted to be an artist, but then I found out by trying it, who are these people in the credits? They get money? Wait. They make more money than the artists?
Yep.
And they ain't got to leave their house. You know what I mean? So I was like, okay, well, let me try this. Instead of the artist part, let me try this other end. So by trying things, you learn what you are, what is for you and what isn't for you. You know what I mean? So yeah.
That was the route I was starting to go in as well over the past year or so. I know that I have a passion for music and I want to be in the music industry, but I'm like, is it necessarily as an artist? Exactly. So right now is when I'm going to give the artist thing my all for now. And until I feel it's not right anymore. So that's why I've also been trying to do my best to learn about the business side.
Absolutely.
Because even just as an artist, it's good to know that that's protection for yourself. Absolutely. And also so that you can maneuver the industry better, especially in the beginning when you don't have management to do that for you. And
a lot of times people that have management don't have proper management.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of people make their friends or somebody that's their family member a manager, but if just because you trust someone doesn't mean they're going to try to get over on you. If they don't know something, that's still bad management. So it's not like they're intentionally doing a disservice to you as a manager, that they just don't know. So to me, you got to make sure you be able to distinguish the difference between somebody who's knowledgeable and helpful and someone who's just helpful.
Oh, you just spoke to my soul right there.
So you got that's important. Because I'm not telling nobody not to use their mama or whoever, but whoever you use, make sure they're just as knowledgeable or trying to be as knowledgeable. And then they're not making any moves without someone who has the knowledge as a part of the team as well, which I like to call your attorney, your chief decision officer is what I call them. Because you got to make sure that person understands the business side of things, because there's some language and jargon in contracts that the average person is not going to know. I would know because I've seen a bunch of contracts, but when I started, I had no idea what some of those things were, ancillary and things like that. You know what I mean? So it's about making sure that the person that really wants to help you and that you trust actually knows, because they do have their best interest at have your best interest at heart, but they don't have the best knowledge at heart. That's the difference. So you got to have the knowledge along with the best interest. So now you'd be successful at that.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Sure. Have you tried management at any point in your career?
Yeah, I've managed artists before.
Okay.
I've had some success.
Okay. Are you still managing? And if so, how do you build that relationship with an artist, and what makes you want to manage specific artists?
Well, at the time when I managed Lakia, they came and asked me to manage. I was trying to help. I just wanted to help her be successful, because I thought she was an extremely talented artist. So I was doing things like helping, with the studio in Atlanta, when she going to the different studios and things of that nature. And then situation sped up, and there was a situation where she would do Music Mondays, and we shot a video to 4-2 Doug and Lil Baby's Yeah, We Paid.
Okay.
Because normally she would do the videos in her car every Monday. So then for this one time, I was like, man, let's shoot this video. This song is dope. I know it's a remake of, a remix, or a key mix is what she called it. I said, let's actually shoot a video of this one. And then when she shot the video of that one, a young lady she was from Philly but lives in Atlanta, shot it on an iPhone actually. And that video was seen by Lil Baby and P and all those, and Lil Baby posted on Twitter that I don't know who she is, this girl is, but she hard. The next thing you know, P was reaching out to sign her. But I was not officially like a manager. I was just like somebody helping
Like
because I was like trying to help just because I saw talent. I was just trying to help. And then she was like, "Listen, man, I know you're not gonna get over on me. You've been successful already, so there's no need for Exactly. So then I stepped into that role, but before then it was years prior before I managed anyone.
Okay.
So I did it because I actually believed in the artist and the art that she had. And we found some really good success over the years and working. So, but now I do things where I do more of consulting things. I still manage. I have a friend of mine. I manage Travis Romel. He's an artist, but he's a writer first.
Okay.
So, and our focus with him is TV and film. Like we got a song in the Bad Boys 4, a movie. We had a song Super Bowl commercial, like things like that. So those are the things our focus are. But because all of the songs that are being placed in these movies or commercials, they're him. So we got to take advantage of that as well. Yeah, exactly. Like even we did a song we licensed the song to the Milwaukee Bucks last year, Glory. That was the theme song of the season. So they licensed it. They paid us to license it for the season. And they had him perform the very first game or whatever when they played the Houston Rockets for the opening season last year. So things like that. So what I like to do is work with people in different areas. So to me, I got somebody I work with that has podcasts. Me and him been working well. We just did some great things with some artists, some actors, like and boxers and things of that nature. So I work with him. And that's it. I try to if I work with people, I work with them in different areas.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't like to work with a female rapper and a female rapper, or male R&B singer and a male, you know what I'm saying? I like to make sure everything is spaced out, because when opportunities present themselves, I don't want to have to pick who it's going to be for, because everybody's in such different lanes. It's easy to say, okay, well, this is somebody for some rap, this is somebody for some, this is for that. So that's how I maneuver with that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's awesome.
Keep it diverse.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you are the coordinator for Radio Milwaukee's Amplified program. Can you please tell everyone what that is and what you do for it?
Yeah, so Amplifier, actually, the crazy part, they reached out to me when they found out what happened with Lakia about running the Amplifier program. I was like, well, I haven't had a job in maybe 2006. So I was like, well, I don't want an actual 9-to-5 job. I can't. I turned it down. I can't do that. They was like, no. What it is, they explained what the program was. Originally, it was a program where they selected 4 artists, gave them grants, and then they got mentorship from people in the industry. So it's like, I can do that. So it's like, you don't have to come. It's like you got to come to work. You just mentor the artists and help them progress in their careers. So I said, cool. So then after we did the first year, it was successful. They said, how can we take this and do this for the community so it's not exclusive to just artists? So what I said was, well, what we can do is we can turn it into me bringing people in to the city and having conversations with them, and the music scene can come, the local music scene can come in and check us out. Yeah. And then what I'll do is I want to record it like a podcast, like a TV show type of thing. And then we'll post it online so people can go back and watch it. So what we do is I'll bring different friends of mine. We just had Business Boy. It was a huge turnout. But then it had about 25,000 views online. We had it live on Facebook. So what that does is it allows people to understand who the person is by learning a piece of their story, but then learning the business of what they do. To me, that's more important than who the person is. Yes. It's the business of what each person does. We have Marcella, who is a big producer. She worked with everybody from Missy, Beyonce, Jay-Z, everybody you can think of, Britney Spears. This is a good friend of mine. She's a world-renowned engineer and producer. So we had her on. We had Rico Love on there. This in August, we have Dr. Valerie Daniels Carter, who is the minority owner of the Bucks, Black woman who's a minority owner of the Bucks. So I go in different areas that I have connections with these people that the average person couldn't normally get to, and I bring them in the city. And then even like with Business Boy, some of the people that were there, the writers that were there, are writing to tracks from him now because they came and connected with him. So he's sending them beat packs and they writing hooks and things of that nature, getting placements now. So to me, that's what it was. That's what it's about, is being able to connect the dots. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We had attorney Mario Breelove, who worked on deals with me with Lakia. He came in to speak, and he actually helped somebody get their masters back from Amplifier.
Oh wow!
Yeah, somebody had sold their masters for $1,100, not knowing that they did that, and he ended up getting their masters back for free for them, which normally would have been So it's just it's a lot of things that we do that are success stories that if you're not, especially if you're in the city, if you're out of the city, it's impossible for you. But if you're in the city, you're able to come. That in-person connectivity is still key.
Yes.
People think because you have the phone and social media, but there's nothing like in-person connectivity.
Right.
We're sitting here because you reached out to me over the phone, but we had an in-person connectivity.
Yes.
We spoke in person.
Right.
And I was able to say, well, I'm gonna be in town for these days. Let's see if we can figure something out. We've been trying to do this for months and months and months.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But when we saw each other, we was able to figure out, well, I'm flying out this day. Let's do it this day. Cool. So that, to me, it's better to do, if it's possible, of course, to do things in person, because now people can see where other people stand. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. I try to go to as many things as possible to network at my level, but more so I like to go to things above my level where there's people I can learn from.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and we never stop learning. No matter what level you're on,
never.
you're always learning. So,
always learning.
For sure.
Right. But I feel like no matter what level you are on, it's important to be around people that you can help learn and people that you can actually learn from yourself.
Absolutely.
Yep. So what made you want to help the local artists and local
because
talents?
I wish I had someone that could do it for me. And at the time, the people who were above my age didn't want to reach back. And then we end up, our generation, me, Rico, and all of us, end up shooting past the people that was supposed to help us. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I didn't want to be that person, that grumpy older person, to be like that. I want to make sure I'm able to assist those that are serious and will invest in themselves. Not saying invest and pay me, just do things for themselves to better themselves. So I just didn't want to be what I saw. You know what I'm saying? That's how, like, I grew up, my father wasn't a father. So now I'm an amazing father. I like to be things that I didn't have to other people. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
that's basically what made me start doing that.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Kind of like, that's actually why I started this podcast as well, because I felt like there were really no outlets that cared about like the smaller artists. And so I just wanted to have something to introduce people to the world. And then I did want to have people like yourself on who the artists and people at the lower levels can learn from. Absolutely. Just through this podcast.
Yeah. So I think it's good to do that, because a lot of times artists, like, there are a lot of artists now from the city that are getting recognition, and where they're trying to go, we've been there already.
Yeah.
The money they're trying to make, we've made it. You know what I'm saying? So it will behoove those artists or their teams to reach out to people like myself and other artists that have done things on a high level to get knowledge. Like, I'll give credit to this young girl name is Kennedy, I think her name, 414 Kennedy.
Okay, yeah, I know who.
Her manager Whitney reaches out to me to get help for things, for situations. If somebody reaches out to her, somebody called me from this label. Have you heard of this person? Oh, well, I don't know that person, but let me call somebody over there to make sure it's not a scam or whatever the questions, So there are some people who will do that, but then there are people who I tell everybody, it's an open door policy. When you're from Milwaukee, all you gotta do is figure out how to get to me and reach out. And if I can assist you, I will. And some people do, some people don't. Now, not saying they have to, but if things start to go wrong, don't reach out to me then, because you could have got the information prior to that to prevent. Because see, to me, prevention is better than trying to fix something up, clean up. You know what I'm saying? It's like going to a barber, letting him mess me up, then going to my original barber and saying, "Hey, can you fix my hair?" Why you just didn't come to me in the first place? Yeah. So that's basically what I like to say.
I feel like pride is a big reason behind that, though.
Ego.
Yeah, ego. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We go back to what we discussed. Yep. If somebody's willing to help, I wish somebody was willing to help me when in the different things, but I just didn't have it. So we had to learn by trial and error. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just different, but it don't bother me, but I just wish people would get the help so they don't mess things up for themselves.
Yes.
And then you find yourself digging yourself out of the hole, because a lot of times what artists don't understand is some of your best work is in the beginning of your careers. You know what I mean? That's your best work, because now that's give you somewhere to start and grow from. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And if you think about certain artists, like think about if Glorilla would have done Bad Business in the beginning of her career, all these hit records and things, or Sexy Red, all these had bad deals and all. Right now, when they got all they, not saying they're not gonna have hits later, but you want to cash in every time every chance you get. So by having good situations that you're in the beginning, it just makes it not as difficult. I would never say easy, not as difficult as you get further down in your career. So I think that makes more sense. And I sent out messages to whoever needs, whether it's the JPs, the Steve, the Stoners. I said, man, if y'all got any questions or y'all need any help, y'all all got my number. Hit me up. When if you need it, hit me. So if they need me, I'm sure they'll hit me if they need. You know what I mean? But I just want to make sure everybody, not saying they need me, but if they have any questions on anything, just feel free to ask you, because 9 times out of 10, I've seen the paperwork, I've seen the kind of contract, we've done all the festivals, like any, whatever, whether it's Rolling Loud here in the States or out the country, or the Metro Fest in Montreal, or the one that they have in Vancouver, like wherever you want. I just with one of my clients in St. Kitts, there was a festival. So everything you could think of, I've been around it. Not saying I've done everything, but I've done a lot. And if you literally are trying to go in those areas and need help in those areas, I know some people, because we've done it year after year. We did with Lakia, we've done all of the Rolling Louds for like 2 or 3 years in a row. Okay. So much so that I built relationships with the people who run it, because they have to deal with me when they try to, get hurt. So now, and I still talk to these people to this day. Yeah. They're like, man, when next time you have an artist, bring them to such, so those relationships don't fizzle out when you do good business with people. BET still have a great relationship with them. You want to come to the awards this year? No, I'm cool. Next time I want to come, I'll bring somebody. You know what I mean? So those relationships stay intact when you do good business. Right. So,
when you do good business.
Absolutely.
So you can burn your name up so fast and early.
Absolutely.
And that's the worst thing you can do for yourself.
And then you got to people aren't smart. Like what they don't do in our day, you had to do the little things consistently to keep you on people's mind. Where I would literally reach out to somebody, man, happy Thanksgiving, that we've done business with, if we shot a TV show with them, or a commercial, or we did it like with some of the staff at Rolling Loud, I would always hit them up, happy holiday, just little stuff like that. Or it's no holiday, nothing. What's going on with it? Just checking on you, how everything going with you. Literally, I'll take time, just go through my phone. Even right now, when I don't have like particular clients in that space, I'll still reach out, because I never know. Right. And then you'll be surprised how they be like, man, it's good to hear from you. What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And they start, you start talking about personal things. I tell people the conversations I had with P from Quality Control, there were a lot of music conversations at certain times, but there were times where me and him would be on the phone for an hour or two, had nothing, never talked about, we'd be talking about our personal lives, you know what I'm saying? Things in our home, our children, or things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? So those things go a long way. And to this day, I still can reach out to P right now and, chop it up when his birthday, stuff like that. So it's about making sure you do the extra things to build that to keep the relationship with people. Yeah. And especially when you've done great business with each other, you had some success with each other. You know what I mean? I think that's key. And always treat the janitor like the CEO, because they just might be one day. Exactly. So when we were filming the Impact, I remember we was filming that show, The Impact, with Ari, Jada, and I can't think of all the people with Lakia. I was cool with the assistant, the assistant cameraman, like everybody that was around. I was just cool with everybody. Obviously, the executive producers and stuff, I would have conversations with them. But even the people further down the line, down the chain, I would still be cool with them. And to this day, I'm still cool. Even when they was shooting the second season and whatever, I was still talking to production and different people like that, because you never know what they are. And then some of those people want to be executive producers or film producers, whatever. Their entry. And right. So by you being cool with them, they're gonna remember like who you working with, what you got going on. So those type of things are important. But we don't think about that if you don't think about that if you've never been in those positions.
Right.
So, and that's where your team comes into play. Where having a good team comes into play. So
yes.
that's why.
That was actually one of my questions for you. What goes into building a good team? Like, what do you have to do to build a good team?
You have to work with someone who's knowledgeable at whatever it is task you want them to do. So if you want a hairstylist, you want them to be very well versed in hair, sew-ins, wigs, whatever the things are. You know, only reason I know about this is because I had worked with a female artist for so many years. But you don't want them to be focused on makeup and they the hairstylist. Like, dog, do the hair. We got a makeup artist for that. You know what I'm saying? Or if you got a stylist, you want somebody that's trustworthy, because if the stylist isn't a good person business-wise, there are certain things they can't pull, or certain warehouses that they can't pull from because they've done bad business there. So you want to make sure that the people you're dealing with are good people, because what it does, if you're the artist, it reflects on you.
Yes.
And that, like, I would do things like this. When we would have a show or somebody will book us the code, like a one-off, where it's like not like a tour. So we would go to, like, I remember one time we were in Mutland, South Carolina. Never heard of it in my life. But these gentlemen, these promoters flew us out there, Lakia out there. I flew in before them. I got there that morning. Lakia didn't get there to the afternoon. I flew in that morning, took the gentleman out to breakfast just to have a conversation with them and just to get to know who they are as people. Mm-hmm. And then by the time she come in town, everything is smoothed over. Everything is good. I would do that for every city we would go to. I would get there first flight, first thing in the morning, and then they would come in the afternoon. I just go pick them up from her security, all that, and the stylist, everybody after that. So they would get there in the afternoon. I would get there that morning, and I would do that with every single promoter. So all of those promoters to this day, I'm still cool with every single one. So if I ever have something and they still promoting, I can run them through those cities again. Okay. You know what I mean? So It's things like that people miss because they're not thinking about advancing their, I'll say, artist, but the artist is really the product.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Uh-huh. So you got to figure out how to advance the product. Mm-hmm. And that's what I would do. Those were just small things I would do to make sure that I was putting on a good example for the client that I was representing. You know what I mean? So I think that's important, making sure that every department in your company or team is knowledgeable at whatever it is they're doing.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
So do you, in your opinion, need a large following before you are manageable?
I would say it would be wise to have a organic and diehard following. Okay. Large can vary because people think 100,000 is large. It's not, though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if you got 100,000 followers and they're consistent with you, I think that's extremely important. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But you can't have a manager you have nothing to manage.
Yeah.
That's the thing. People have managers that ain't got nothing to manage, but then want them sweating the manager about what we doing. What can we do? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think you must have some kind of traction going, because it's hard to get somebody to manage nothing. Mm-hmm. So they're supposed to quit everything they're doing, because people don't understand. Artists don't understand is the managers give up so much to make sure that things are going well for you. And a lot of times, even if you're making money with artists, certain managers are like a manager like me, managing an artist, it has me missing more money than I'm probably making, because I'm on the other side of the thing too. I can create, so I can go get some money for some production and this and that. So it's not like, you know what I'm saying? And I can go get it right now instead of waiting for something to drop or something to come out to make money. I can literally make money consistently every day, you know? So when it's hard for you to expect someone to step away from whatever they're doing to make revenue, to manage you, or to be your attorney or whatever, when they have other things going on at a higher level and a more frequent level when it comes to revenue for them. So you got to make sure you be realistic as artists, because artists are selfish, as they should be. Yes. And they want everything to be about them, which is understandable, but you still got to be realistic. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times when you're doing business with people, they have other things going on as well. So I think it's important to make sure that you are knowledgeable about that as well, or thoughtful, I should say, about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good perspective to put on it as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Because the artist does generally think of themselves and only themselves,
for sure,
instead of all that's going on in the background to help them.
Exactly.
So,
and you got to realize you're the talent, you're the thing that catches the people's eye, but your team is what keeps the people's eye.
Yes.
If you have a terrible team, they're not putting things in place for you to continue to be successful. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
when I leave, when I'm done working with clients, they're on an upward trajectory. Now, whether they keep it after I leave, that's on them. But they're on when I'm year one, you make more from year one to year two. You make more from year two to year three. So you're going upwards when we working. Now, if you're able to keep that, that's a blessing. Because now it's like a lot of times people leave situations or get fired or things of that nature when things are going down. A lot of times when I've left situations, it was on the way up.
Okay.
So it not on that whoever I was working with to continue that trajectory, or whoever comes after me to continue that trajectory upwards. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
So in today's world, how do you think you go about getting fans and getting those numbers up?
Consistency. Literally, that's it.
Just consistency.
Consistency. I have people reach out to me now that I post different educational or business type things on my page than I did before. And it's literally just the fact of me having a dialogue, no more than a minute and a half dialogue. And
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how much my DMs are flooded. So I'm gonna do 1 week where I just start answering questions that people ask me in my DMs. I'll just do a video, start answering some questions sometime. But you'd be surprised, and it's just because I'm consistent. And I only post. I'm not an artist, so I might post once. I post once a week.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That's it. And I'm more focused on my son now. He's like about to be 3, but dude's a star, and it's not like a singer. It was just like him as a kid, like a personality. So I've been focused heavy on him, and I did my thing and made me some money. So now let's go to the next. Let's go to Deuce. You know.
Next
so now,
generation.
so now I'm really focused heavy on that, and we just reached out to. Matter of fact, this gentleman was in town for Summerfest and his show got canceled, but some of them people reached out to me about doing some things, kid stuff with. I ain't gonna say no names, but they reached out to me this week about my son.
Oh, really?
It was just crazy because they're getting ready to do some children's type stuff. So they reached out to me, and so we went into conversations, just beginning conversations because they like this kid got something going on. So that's how, you know. So it's things like that it's just us being consistent with him, and we just started with him. So
you started a channel for him, or was it a TV show?
Yeah. So it's and when I say TV show, I mean like kids, our attention span isn't that long.
No.
So I try to keep everything under 5 minutes.
That's
so
smart.
that they you know, because the kids, when I watched him as a baby, he would watch something over and over 1,000 times, but just him. So imagine you doing that in several households. Gracie's Corner. I mean, if I know every song the little girl got. You know what I'm saying? He would watch it over and over and over again. And by the way, Gracie's Corner be jamming too. By the way, it'd be banging for sure. So, but I'm just, you know, when you find your niche, then like with him, I see what his is. His is more. We do toy reviews and things of that nature, but his is more entertainment style too. Where we'll take him somewhere and I'll film while we're having a good time, or his mom will film while we're having a good time, and we'll do that to make sure that we capture everything. And then I go back and I do everything myself. Edited everything. We create. His mother made his logo. I added all that, so all of his stuff was made by me and his mom. You know what I mean? So literally, and then we have conversations at night, like what I'm getting ready to drop this. Tell me what you think of it. You need to add this and this to it, whatever, because she don't edit, I do. So it's things like that we do as a team for him to try to create something for him to go as he get older, because he's very well spoken to be 2.5. You know, it's things that he do that he's not supposed to be. But he was premature, 2 months premature. So he's a little more advanced, and his mother work with him every single day. So it's things that he has. Skills that he had that normal kids his age don't have, but that's because somebody's literally there working. He's blessed to have somebody that's working every single day. You know what I mean? That
makes the world a
difference. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Because my mother worked when I was coming up, so his mama don't have. She can be a mama. You know what I mean? So to me, that's extremely important. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely a blessing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, with Deuce's World, is that something that you're going to hand over to him when he's of age, or is that something that you plan to keep going until he's 18? I
wish he had an older sibling that could really handle it, because I'm considered old, even though I'm in my mid 40s when it comes to that type of stuff. So what I'm doing is referring to younger people to ask how do you do this or what do you think about that?
Yeah.
Because that's not my thing. You go to my TikTok, it's terrible. I probably got 700 people or something like that, but I'm not consistent because I'm too busy worried about the business of everything than to be on my phone. You know what I mean? So I would like to have somebody younger, in their mid 20s or whatever, that would know how to do something like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Kind of take over the brand.
Take over. Yeah. Just run it. We're gonna own everything, but run it and get paid well. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like what as we're building it, that's what I'll be looking for in the future. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I really love hearing that you're setting your son up for success in the future. Yeah. That's something, especially Black parents haven't in the past really even had the opportunity to do that in most households. I won't say in every household.
No, that's true.
I love that you're doing that for him right now.
Yeah, I think it's important. And see, and to all my gentlemen out there who have children, whether you're with the child's mother or not, as a man, I think all men should be able to take care of their children in life and in death. So if I die, Deuce take all the money I got plus a couple more couple more millions if something happened to me. So he's taking care whether I'm alive or if I'm dead. And I think if the Black community would have done that back when I was a child, there would be a lot more generational wealth in families just by getting the life insurance policy. Yeah. That's not even, think about getting a life insurance policy at 20. If I'm able to get at my old age, $3-4 million for $400-500 a month, imagine what I could have got if I'm 20. You can get $3-4 million for $35 back, back then, because they don't think nothing gonna happen to you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then there'll be a lot less police shootings too. Yeah. Because all the black people, folk, young men getting and they killing them, now they got to pay that policy. All the way they killing Black folks, they'd be like, hold on now, we gotta, something ain't right. Yeah. Then that's when Congress and all the other people start stepping in. So if we as a people protect ourselves first, it helps everybody. Yeah. And then that mom doesn't have to go fund me and all this. How you the freshest in the world and you die, we got to go fund me to put you in the ground. That don't make sense. But you got every belt, every shoes to go with the belt. Your car, you change your paint on your car every year. But if you die, we got to go fund me. That's crazy to me. And it happens a lot in our community. That's what they call hood rich. When you just want to show everything you got. I call it dumb rich. Because you're not rich for real. No, you know what I'm saying? You're not. That's crazy. It's just flexing. Yeah, and I think to me, if we think about it differently, until we think about it differently, we'll always be the race that's behind everybody. Yeah. I believe that for sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah, for sure. And it's sad because we have so much power. If we could learn how to use it right. Absolutely. We are powerful people. It's facts. Yeah, we make cool. So whatever's popping and whatever's hot, it's because we make it. Exactly. I don't care if it's a social media. Remember when everybody was on Clubhouse? It was Black folks who blew it up. But guess who owned it? Not us. Exactly. So when it blew up, the person who IPO'd it because of us sold it it was worth a couple $100,000. We got on there and blew it up. It was worth $1 billion. They got rid of it. Boom. Yep. So like to me, like I've invested in Isaac Hayes III's social media platform Fanbase, right? He's done a lot of things. You know how when you go on Instagram and you may boost your thing and you can Apple Pay? He created that for platforms. He created that. Wow. You first was able to do that on Fanbase. Not all of the other ones use it, but it started with him. I didn't know that. Yeah, so there are things we are doing, but what we do is when we get people in positions, we want to critique and do everything when it's us. When it's white folks, okay, give you an example. Master P has the food stuff, right? Cereal and all that, right? All of a sudden, because it's Master P, Black people want to know how much calories are in it, what kind of sugar is in it, what type of this, or the noodles, how much sodium is in it. Now, Black folks been eating ramen noodles for 100 years. I never heard of Black folks ask that question. All of a sudden, because Master P got it, now we want to know what's going on. It's only because it's us. That's what I'm saying. It's little things that we do to ourselves to help keep us where we are. Yeah. You know what I mean? I agree. So to me, little small things like that. Now all of a sudden, now you want to be a research specialist when you was never a research specialist for Captain Crunch or Frosted Flakes or whoever. You get what I'm saying? So it's things like that we do to ourselves. LeBron James and his son in the league. Who you think talked the worst about LeBron James and his son? Us. Right. When you supposed to be rooting for them people. You understand what I'm saying? But that's what we do because that's how we were brainwashed coming up.
Yes.
Or everybody. Because if your grandmother did it, she passed it to your mother. Then your mother passed it to you. Then so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So to me, that's our problem as African Americans. We want to critique us only.
Yes.
Like what happened with Diddy and Cassie, I'm not condoning none of it. But it ain't the first time it happened.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
But it's been happening in communities all over across the country, our communities all over across the country.
Yeah.
But it's a big deal now because it's Diddy. But what about your cousin that did it? And you stood right there and watched. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you turned the blind eye to that, though. You see what I'm saying? I'm not condoning nothing. I'm not saying it's right at all. So that's not what I'm doing. I'm just saying let's be consistent across the board with this. If we're gonna critique about something, let's be consistent about the critique or the disdain for everything.
Yeah.
In whether it's on camera or in person with you. Have that same energy for when your brother do it or your good friend that do it to his girlfriend. And you standing right there. Be the same way.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can even tell you it's local artists that be getting away with all kinds of crazy stuff and their friends just being enablers.
Exactly.
So
yeah, let's be consistent.
Exactly.
Let's just don't have uproar when it's a celebrity. Let's have uproar when it's people in our family.
Right.
Absolutely. Call it out all the time.
Exactly.
Or don't call it out. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna switch. I want to ask you what has been your greatest challenge?
Greatest challenge at the time we were doing was finances.
Okay.
Because at the time I was a math teacher, high school math teacher. So I wasn't making up with $27,500 a year. That's peanuts.
Sheesh.
Yeah, that's peanuts.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I have months. I do that in a month now. You know what I'm saying? But back then that was my yearly salary. So it was financial at that point. But that was just a part of the story.
Yes.
That wasn't the end all be all. So what I did was to combat the lack of funds in the school that I was teaching in, I created a candy store. So that candy store was making me $45,000 a year. Right?
Yeah.
But my salary was $27,500. But the difference was that $45,000 was untaxed. It was free money. All I had to do was take the school on a field trip once a semester.
Okay.
So the first semester, the winter, and then the spring semester. Those might have cost me $4,000 for the year. So I'm still up $41,000. Free money. So that's what I did to solve that problem. I found where I was at. I see kids coming in my class with chips and all. I'm like, man, every day, little KP got this and such got that. Let me go get some pickles, some sodas, the Doritos, all that. Go to Sam's Club and go crazy. Man, next thing you know, I was walking around. My water money is so big in my pocket from selling candy, and that was my way. So I took that money and stacked it and moved to Atlanta. And that's how I got it. Yep.
See, there's always a second hustle. I feel like that artists have to, or not have to. Oftentimes, if you want enough money to survive and invest in yourself, you have to find something else for extra money.
Yeah, but you got to be smart. See, now there are things financially that you can do that we couldn't do back then. So now, today, what I would have done was create my business, which I have, Big Sound, right? Make sure I have good credit. Now I can leverage my credit. So what I could do is, if I have a couple, like I had, let's say I probably got like 6 or 7 American Express cards, right? Each one of those cards have limits. People who are trying to get good credit need lines of credit to make their credit better. So then you could I would sell my lines of credit by adding them onto my credit card as if it's theirs, but they don't get a card as an authorized user. And just charge them a monthly fee to be on my card. That's revenue. If you do that, if you get 10 people and you charging 10 people $500 a month, that's 5 G's a month right there. It's ways to do it now that we couldn't do back then because we didn't have access to these things. So it's ways to do it now where I wouldn't even be working a job today because of the way that you can do things that you couldn't do back then. You know what I'm saying? So there are a lot of ways. But one thing about this, we won't even get credit. Black people are scared of credit. I'm just the craziest thing I've ever heard of. I was talking to an artist and I'm like, how's your credit? It's like, well, I don't have no credit. I'm like, what? Man, that's part of the building process. Because now if you have good credit, you establish good business credit. Now what you can do is get a line of credit against your company. That's what all of the The Trumps and all them cats, that's what they do. They get lines of credit against their company.
Yeah.
And if things go left, they do what? Bankrupt the company.
Mhm.
They don't owe the money.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you do that for your career? It works.
I think Black people are afraid of credit because it's not something that we're educated on.
Absolutely.
Enough.
And that goes back to what we were talking about of people being in the home that's knowledgeable about what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I can teach my son. Like I do stocks. Well, nobody taught me how to do that. I just learned on my own. But my son is sitting in my lap while I'm doing stock option day trading at the house. He's sitting in my lap watching me in these charts. He don't know what it is, but he know that daddy do it. Mm-hmm. So then eventually he gonna be like, what is that? So I'm starting to teach him what calls and puts are. Things of those nature that are making money. It's amazing how much money you can make sitting in your drawers first thing in the morning. Literally. Like it's crazy how you can do that. Mm-hmm. So, but that's something we're taught.
Right.
You can literally do that and be an artist. I was literally on the road. I remember one time we were driving from Atlanta to somewhere in either South Carolina somewhere. She had a performance. We're literally in the van at 7:00, the Sprinter, and I'm stock option trading while we're driving on the road. Literally stock option. I literally made like $2,700 driving to go take the artist to go do a show.
Yeah.
And I'm explaining to the bus driver, the Sprinter driver, what I was doing. She's like, what you doing over there? I was like, I'm stock option trading. She's like, really? I was like, yeah, I'm making money. Look. And she just watching the numbers go up and up and up. I'm like, I'm making money right now. She's like, wow, I got to learn that. So I sent her some courses that I had taken. But literally, I was making money while I was taking somebody while I was making some more money on the way. But it's things that we don't understand or we don't know, we're not turned on to.
Right.
That, we need to be. And those things can literally, take over your career, take your career help you take your career to the next level. Okay. So those are things that you can do that, especially young. Like I wish I knew what I know now at 46, at 25. Mm-hmm. What? Man. And I'm doing good in life, but I'll be doing amazing in life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to me, it's just those little nuances that we need, that we're missing, because one, we're not searching for the information. Right. And then two, there aren't people giving the information.
Right.
And I think that's the thing, is the lack of knowledge. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And it was kept from us for a long time.
Absolutely.
But now it's available to whoever wants it.
Absolutely.
So
do you know that the largest group of individuals who have successful businesses are Black women right now?
That's interesting. I actually did not know that.
Yes, right now.
That makes me proud.
Yeah, Black women. So there are things here now. Do men have enough to get rid of their ego to go speak to a woman about how she's successful? I'm just saying.
Most don't.
I seen Peaky Cole in the airport. Guess what we was doing? Chopping it up. I ain't trying to own a vegan spot or nothing, but her and her husband had some extremely successful businesses. I just was tapping in on what their thought process is.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. Like you can apply. I can apply what she does with Slutty Vegan to other areas of business, because it's the concept. It's not the product. Exactly. It's the concept. So that's, to me, those things are important, and that's literally what we have to do as individuals. You got to get rid of the ego, and you notice I keep going back to that.
Yep.
To go to have that conversation,
because the ego really is the problem. Absolutely. In almost anything anybody does. It's putting that ego aside and being willing to learn.
Absolutely. And putting the ego aside to be willing to share. It's like when you reached out to me, I didn't know, I wasn't familiar with you, right? Mm-hmm. But I didn't treat you, at least I don't think I treated you any kind of way because sometimes like you DM me, but it wasn't even in where I could even see it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody had to show me, go here. And I scrolling through different things. I'm like, oh, who is this from Milwaukee? So it's things like that to me that we have to do. It goes both sides. Be egoless and just have conversations with each other. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is this young Black queen who's trying to do something. Let me see how I can help. That's it. This conversation may help somebody that's listening.
Exactly.
This might be the one to go crazy. Mm-hmm. Cool. You know what I'm saying? Just have it on your show when you got TV and all that type of deal. Have me back.
Absolutely. So, what advice would you give to somebody who has made it to a point where they're starting to get a little bit tired of the trying phase and the come up phase and almost want to give up? Is there advice you would give that person?
Either do something else if you're really tired and whatever, or push through. It's literally that simple.
It really is only two options. So.
Do something else or push through. That's literally it. Because if this seems hard to you, wait till you got millions of dollars on the table and you have to because you're contractually obligated to do something. Now ain't no choice.
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because now you in breach, and then that breach gonna cost you a whole lot of money. So right now is the time to push through because it costs you nothing. You know what I mean? So and then make sure you take care of yourself as well.
Yeah.
Regardless of the decision you make. It's impossible to give your all if you're not full from yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's hard to pour out of an empty cup. So make sure you're
true.
full first.
Yes.
Then you can assist others. That's the reason why they say when you're on a flight, the flight attendant says, put your mask on before assisting others. Basically saying making sure you're full before you try to empty your cup to somebody else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because what if you pass out in the middle of trying to help them?
It's over with.
It's no good for both of you.
Yeah, it's over with.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yep.
Extremely important.
That's a good point.
Yeah, for sure.
So I asked you what your biggest challenge was. What has been your biggest accomplishment or something you're the proudest of?
Outside of having my son professionally, I'll say my very first Grammy nomination, because it was at a time where I had just lost a job, and instead of moping, I got on the plane. A friend of mine called me. Sounds called me. He's known as B&W Kenny now. So, but at the time he was Sounds, he called me to just check on me to see how I was doing. I said, bro, I'm doing all right. I ain't got nothing going on. What's up? And when next time you coming out here? I said, tomorrow. And I literally booked the flight that day to go out to LA. And then that's how I ended up getting my first Grammy nomination, just because instead of letting defeat win, I just kept it moving. I literally did what I was telling you as an advice to somebody who wanted to give up. Instead of quitting and throwing in the towel, I got on a plane and just pushed through.
Yeah.
And so to me, that was it showed me something about myself later in life. You know what I'm saying? Because I thought it was normal to do that because I was a star athlete. So it's normal I played the sport of baseball. In baseball, if you get a hit 3 out of 10 times, you're considered great. That's 30%. 30% on anything in school, anything is terrible.
Yeah.
But in the sport of baseball, 30%, you was called 300. But just 30% of the time, you the GOAT. You know, if you go 4 for 10, you're really the GOAT. You're the top of the line. So it taught me to take that loss or strike out or get out and worry about the next at bat. So that's basically how I looked at things, not knowing subconsciously that's what I was doing. It was a strikeout, but what's my next at bat? My next at bat was getting on a plane doing something else instead of sitting at home moping about it. So to me, that's how you have to approach things. How I approach sport at a high level competitor in that sport.
Did you say you're first? Okay.
3, yeah.
What projects?
Shoot, you better give me the line now. Rihanna. The first one. Yeah,
that was a great
album, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I remember that one vividly. So the other ones was for like me mixing as an engineer. There were other ones for like me as an engineer.
Mm-hmm.
But that one I was actually the vocal producer of. The song was called Skin.
Oh,
so I did that.
That was one of my favorite songs on that album.
I did all the arrangement, all the harmony arrangement, all that.
Okay.
It was Skin.
I love that song.
Yeah.
You know what's funny is I haven't listened to the album in years. I just listened to it yesterday.
Oh, word.
So, yeah. So I'm gonna start wrapping up so that you can get your catfish.
That's all good.
Do you have any final advice or anything you want to say to the artists of Milwaukee or anyone listening?
Yeah, what I would say is this. Let me see how would I put it? You got to understand. Oh, I'm covering my mouth. I'm sorry. You must understand what your value is over what your price is. That's extremely important, right? Knowing what your value is will create generational wealth versus knowing what your price is. Because when you know what your price is, you get paid that price and that's it. But when you know what your value is, there is residuals with your value over your price.
Yes.
So I suggest to all artists, engineers, managers, producers, songwriters, stylists, hairstylists, makeup artists, know what your value is. And sometimes you'll have to forego your price for your value. And when you understand your value, you'll continue to be successful and that value will continue to grow. And as your value grows, automatically your price will grow.
Yeah.
So always know what your value is versus focusing on what your price is. And if you can do that, success will be a longevity type of thing for you in whatever area it is. It ain't got to be music. It could be whatever it is. Real estate, whatever you can think of. It could be that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I always say this. We all have dreams, no matter how old we are or how young we are. But one thing about a dream, it never expires. So make sure you give your all, because you would rather be 80 years old and said, I tried this and failed, than I didn't try at all and live with regrets.
Yeah.
So those are my two things I like to tell people.
That's awesome advice. Thank you so much.
Man, I appreciate
it. And thanks for sitting down and have this conversation with me. I learned a lot from you today. Hoping we can keep a business connection.
Absolutely.
And yeah, just thanks for being so open with your knowledge and willing to help artists, and you're a gem to the city. So thank you.
I appreciate you. Thanks for my time. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. And thanks to you all for listening to KB's Community today.